A young seagull named Jonathan just wants to fly and have fun, but his flock doesn't agree with his ideals. So, how does he come over that? Let's read Jonathan Livingston Seagull and find out. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be reviewing Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. So, if you're like me, you probably know Richard Bach as Richard Bachman, as in Stephen King's most famous pseudonym that he used to write Rage, Thinner, The Running Man, and stuff like that. His not really sellable books, I guess. But anyway, this Richard Bach is not Richard Bachman. He is not a fictional person. He's a real person. His name is Richard Bach. See right there, Richard Bach. And this Richard Bach is a pilot. And back in the 70s, he just had an idea to one day just write a book about a seagull who really wants to fly. And he used his flight knowledge to kind of do that and stuff. And so he teamed up with the photographer who was also a pilot. And together they made this little thing. It's a novella, actually. It has 93 pages, so it's super fast to get through. It's aimed towards children. It's an allegorical fable, so your children should be able to enjoy it. And I did say photographer, so there's actually pictures in it. So let me see if I can find one like that. So yeah, there's actual photographs like that, but there's also hand-drawn illustrations that look like that. So there you go. There's about maybe 20 pages or so of just nothing but pictures and illustrations and stuff. So only about 73 pages of this are actual story. But yeah, that's really interesting. But anyway, to further explain Jonathan Livingston Seagull, I guess I should explain what the actual plot of the book is. So as the title suggests, Jonathan Livingston Seagull is about a young seagull named Jonathan. And basically, seagulls mostly fly for like either food or transportation purposes. But Jonathan doesn't want to do that. He just wants to fly for the sake of flying. But his entire seagull flock doesn't exactly like that attitude around here. So like his parents don't believe in him. His entire flock is not believing in him. And so, Jonathan gets a little discouraged, but not too much, because he still decides to go out there and fly. And so he tries to fly for a long time. And eventually, because his wings are like too long, he decides to do this. Like this, like tiny wings. And then he gets better at flying. And then soon he gets really good. But his flock doesn't like that. So they officially announce him as an outcast and send him to an old abandoned island that no other seagull can live on unless they're outcast. So over the course of the next several years, however long a seagull's lifespan is, Jonathan spends the next several years just learning to fly and being really good. And so he decides he's gonna try to go home. But on his way, he gets knocked out or dies or something, and he goes to this different reality which he perceives as heaven, where there's a bunch of seagulls there that actually fly for the sake of flying. And so while there, he meets an elder who's Chang, I think that's his name, is Chang. And basically Chang just tells him everything he needs to know about flying, and then Chang just disappears in a bunch of bright lights. So anyway, Jonathan wakes up or something, and then he goes back to his home, and then everybody's like, what are you doing back here? But on the bright side, there are some other seagulls, even from the flock, or some younger ones who want to learn how to fly, specifically this one named Fletcher. So Jonathan takes on Fletcher as his first student. And so over the next however many pages, he just continues to get student after student after student. And he basically just teaches them to fly. He teaches them all he knows. And then one day, towards the end of the book, keep in mind Jonathan's like a really old guy now, Fletcher, actually crash lands into the side of a cliff or something and dies, and goes to that same alternate reality that Jonathan was in. And basically, Jonathan tells him, there's nothing I can do for you anymore. You have to go on and teach and stuff. And so eventually, like that elder, possibly Chang before him, Jonathan turns into white light and just floats away because he's a very old seagull. So then what Fletcher decides to do is he goes back to the other students that Jonathan had and decides to take on the role of teaching because he's not going to let Jonathan die in vain. And that is how Jonathan Livingston Seagull ends. So yeah, like I said, there isn't a lot to Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's just an allegorical fable. It's just for children to learn things. And it's also 93 pages, about 73 of which are actual words, and the other 20 are like pictures and illustrations. So there's not a lot to like talk about for this book, but it's certainly interesting. I mean, I'm not a pilot. I know people who are pilots. My dad is a pilot, but I don't want to be a pilot. So the wanting to fly for the sake of flying thing, I don't really understand. But the main theme of this short book is freedom, defying the odds, and just doing what you want to do because you want to do it. And I think that's a very powerful theme even today because that book was released in 1970. So it's still quite old now. It's over 50 years old. But its themes of freedom and individuality and just doing whatever you want, those themes still are prevalent very much today. And so I think this book is rather timeless. And yeah, I think it's a good lesson for kids that like, even though people may try to put you down, you should always stand your ground, go back up, and just keep trying to do what you want to do. So yeah, anyway, I just really liked this book. It's not the usual kind of stuff I read because you can see my bookshelves are of it. I don't obviously read a lot of children's stuff anymore since I'm no longer a child. But it was nice reading Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It took me only a day to read. It was really fun. It was colorful. Well, the pictures are in black and white, but like you get what I mean. It's just a very lighthearted story about individuality. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it a lot. And I'd recommend it to pilots or non-pilots. I really just recommend it to anyone who just wants to read a really good story with a good message. But yeah, and one of the things I love is that the seagulls, I almost called them pigeons for whatever reason because they're literally called seagulls. Duh. But anyway, I love how they have like human names almost and how they talk like humans. That's a little funny. There's actually no humans in the book at all, so that's a little funny. But yeah, so overall, I love the length. I love the premise, even though I don't quite relate to it as much as I usually do. And I just love the message of the story, which is individuality and freedom. But yeah, so go read this. But yeah, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you have not, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. We have surpassed 200 subscribers and are now on the train to 300. So please subscribe if you want to see me hit 300 subscribers. But before I end this video, I actually want to tell you guys something. I can fly. No, don't look at me like that. Don't doubt me. I'm going to show you I can fly. See, look. Watch this. I'm going to go fly right now. Bird powers away! Whoa, guys, I'm flying. Look at this. I told you I could fly. And all you guys were doubting me. Yeah, see, look, I can fly. Oh! Okay, I just got hit in the head, but I'm still flying. So, yeah. See, look what I told you. I can fly.